Across the United States, enrollment in traditional brick-and-mortar university campuses has entered a period of unchecked decline. This trend has made online educational offerings a necessity for institutional survival. While physical attendance drops, online enrollment continues to grow, becoming the primary mode of learning for a new majority. These post-secondary students are typically 25 or older. They are managing full-time jobs and family obligations, often attending school on a part-time basis. This demographic includes millennials who have spent their entire lives surrounded by technology. They arrive with high expectations for personalized, tech-enabled digital experiences. Against a backdrop of rising tuition and no guarantee that a diploma leads to a job, these students are conducting their own searches for courses that provide immediate value and a clear return on investment. Employers are mirroring this shift, demanding graduates who possess specific proficiencies and skills that reflect current industry needs rather than broad academic credentials. Higher education is at a tipping point. Traditional content delivery is failing because the modern learner demands flexible, relevant value that integrates directly with their career. Institutions initially attempted to solve this demographic shift by simply porting their existing classroom materials into online spaces. This produced an inside-out approach, where the design of the learning environment is dictated by the institution's infrastructure, rather than the learner's perspective. Standard learning management systems often enforce this, relying on rigid templates that force instructors to organize courses into simple list-based menus. This creates functional fixedness, using digital tools only in their intended ways, completely missing their broader potential. The result is a passive, one-size-fits-all course structure. It focuses on instructor management needs rather than active engagement, often leaving the learner feeling disconnected. User experience design, or UXD, emerged from a similar realization in technology, that focusing on human needs and human reactions is more important than just making a product functional or efficient. To adapt to a dynamic learning ecosystem, higher education must move beyond basic instructional design toward human-centered learning experience design. Learning experience design defines online education as a series of subjective, psychodynamic states. It is a holistic process where thinking, feeling, perceiving, and behaving are all integrated. This diagram outlines the 4 dimensions of learning. Conventional design focuses exclusively on the cognitive realm, perception, memory, and reasoning, making decisions without learner feedback. But learning requires active construction of knowledge through the integrated functioning of the total person. When limited to the cognitive dimension, digital experiences become flat and disconnected. A dynamic digital ecosystem requires activating the remaining 3 dimensions. The emotional dimension is closely associated with learner motivation, encompassing both positive and negative feelings. Deep learning experiences often involve deliberate episodes of confusion, frustration, and struggle. These states are not errors in design, but necessary psychological friction. If managed correctly, these episodes of anxiety and frustration serve as antecedents. They provide the contrast required for positive states, like delight, flow, and surprise to emerge. The behavioral dimension acts as a bridge, connecting knowledge with its application. It is externalized through social interactions and manifests in how learners self-regulate through choices within the course. True learning experience design integrates these dimensions to trigger cognitive friction and behavioral change, exceeding the capabilities of static, content-focused instruction. In the traditional model, a single subject matter expert designs the entire curriculum in isolation, relying on their own assumptions about how learners respond. This insular approach often fails to address the spoken and unspoken needs of modern learners across all 4 dimensions. Adopting design thinking provides a different mindset, a problem-solving approach used to understand and generate innovative solutions. This shifts the process toward participatory design, based on the principle that the users of a system should have input into its design. Participatory design involves continuous feedback from stakeholders, including peer instructors and technical support, and the learners themselves, throughout the entire design process. The modern educator must transition from a solitary role focused solely on content to that of a collaborative project manager, coordinating inputs to ensure the learner remains the central figure. This collaborative process begins with empathic design, a core skill within the design thinking framework. Empathy requires instructors to let go of their personal preferences and view the course outside in, seeking to understand how learners think, feel, and behave within the environment. This diagram illustrates the iterative prototyping cycle. By constantly moving through empathizing and testing, instructors move past the cognitive bias of functional fixedness. This mindset relies on experimentation. The first idea generated is seldom the last idea implemented. Instead, the design moves through successive approximations. Designers use low-fidelity prototypes, like storyboards, visual narratives, or rough mock-ups, to test how learners interact with a solution before investing heavily in digital infrastructure. Successive iteration based on stakeholder feedback is the only way to ensure the final design achieves its intended goals for the learner. The shift from content-centric delivery to a dynamic digital learning ecosystem is essential for the future of higher education. In this ecosystem, technology serves as an invisible mediator, a network that connects minds and facilitates learning without dominating the actual experience. Instructors are no longer just distributors of information. They are architects of complex cognitive, emotional, social, and behavioral interactions. By adopting learning experience design, institutions can move past rigid templates and finally deliver the high-value, engaged learning that the modern world demands.